Good morning, Facebook. Gary Cassady here this morning with Ask the Expert Show. Man, I've got a great guy today for an interview. This gentleman's born and raised in the Iraq area. He's come to the United States and he's turning things on fire. He's becoming a real estate investor, a developer, and he's just knocking the socks off everything he touches. Everything he touches turns into gold. He's becoming an international businessman. His name is Ali Khirbeet. I just butchered his name, and man, we're just talking about this. Ali, I'm going to bring you on, buddy. My friend Ali, how are you? I had it perfect, and now I'm butchering it.
Khirbeet.
Ali Khirbeet. Yeah. So, how are you doing, my friend?
Good. How are you? It's good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you. So, thanks for being on the show today. And yeah. So. Yeah, Ali, tell us about yourself. I mean, you come from Iraq. You're here in Columbus, Ohio, of all places.
Yeah.
Tell us about Iraq and how'd you get to Columbus, Ohio?
Yeah, so I'm originally from Middle East, Iraq. It's a beautiful country. Fortunately, we have so many wars in this country that didn't make it really stable the way how it is before.
Yeah.
And I came from a really good, successful family. My dad is a very successful civil engineer. So I used to be with him in the car when we go to check projects, stuff like that. I remember I have so much dreams as a little kid. Like, I want to be pilot. That's one of the things I want to do when I grow up. So my dad always say, well, I will send you to school and you could be a pilot.
Yeah,
that's kind of my my vision when I was a little kid, to be a pilot.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, we have a lot of real estate. We had a hotel there, and I mean, like, our life was really good. And then the war unfortunately happened in 2003. We lost everything.
Wow.
Yeah, so from all the real estate disappear, everything we had is gone, and being basically. Some of it burned down because of the war. So remember the first time me working as Ali, I went to being just regular worker. I have a friend. He asked me if I'm looking for works, and then I remember I went to work. Actually, that was in 2004 when I started working first time, and I was a little kid. And
yeah.
And I was holding the shovel, and I look in my hands, and then my hands was bleeding from here because I never worked in my life.
Yeah.
And it was the moment of change. You know what I mean? Like, your dad was take care of you, and
yeah.
You have all this vision and dream. You want to be pilot, and then you just focus on school, and now you're just holding a shovel and regular work. And so big shift in my life.
Yeah.
But yeah, then after that, I focus on more like, I have so much heart and passion about communities, you know what I mean? So I work with an organization focused on helping the refugees and basically in Iraq and in Turkey. I went to Turkey and worked with the refugees. I went to Lebanon for a while too, and that was my passion, is helping people. Like, that was like 2000, 2010, 2011 before I came to US.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you did mention something in a previous conversation, and you mentioned like your father earlier. You guys had a hotel and so forth, and like he was managing like several thousand people.
Yeah. So he in his job before, he used to be he has under him 5,000 engineers. That's the level of his skills was.
That's mind blowing.
Yeah.
And just the fact that you were able to sit into those conversations, as you're growing up and so forth.
Yeah.
But like you talked about, like, the war kind of destroyed everything. So how does somebody overcome like a war? Like, it's man-made. It's so man did it, right? And so regardless of whose fault it was, like, just destroyed like your guys' livelihood.
Yeah.
And so, like, that's it changes a person. It's got to.
Yeah, I mean, think about a generation that they like example what happened in Syria. Think about those kids they born in a war until today, and then what they learn only about war. You know what I mean? Those kids go in, they don't have so much joy and life inside them. Now you can see sparkle in their eyes. They want to play, they want to have a good time. But all what they learn is about war. And then the same thing in Iraq. I think we're a little bit better than other countries, which is good. But the country is still not as stable like how people wish. So people graduate from school and they still cannot find job, and then the government struggle to, as a government, pay bills and stuff like that for us. But one thing people ask me, how old are you? And I say I'm 30 years old. And it's like, I cannot believe you do what you do, and then like you're 30 years old. Why? And I say, well, we grow up earlier than our age because the environment.
Yeah.
Like, if somebody grow up here and, graduate from school, something, they don't see what we're seeing there, like how tough life is.
Yeah.
And that would make us grow very quickly. You know what I mean? So let's put in the right English word, mature. We become more mature very quickly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's kind of what put us in a level that, we want to build future for ourselves, because what we saw in the past, we don't want it to be continuous. You know what I mean?
Because obviously, growing up in basically a war zone,
right?
I don't know what, like 2000 or whatnot, whatever it was.
Yep.
Whoever is born after that has been pretty much, that's all their life.
Yeah.
And so now I want to remind like the listeners, like Iraq is not like this like third world country per se. It's pretty wealthy country, and it's nice city, right? It's not, we don't, like we see on TV, like, like crumbled buildings from the war and stuff like that, but like it's a pretty beautiful place.
Yeah. If you go to the north, it's beautiful mountains, ravines. It's just amazing. We have amazing country, but it never stay like this. Hopefully, we will have people who like a good people, like good government, love their people and take care of them. And, it has to change one day, will be, so.
Yeah.
I always say, we, like, as a young people, we are the one making the difference. We don't demand on other people. We make different. We build, we inspire. That's what we could do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So now you also have had your fair share of struggles. Being pretty much raised at a fairly young age in a war, right? Seeing death, destruction, seeing it destroyed your pretty much family business in a way.
Right.
And then you start fighting, you find out you have cancer.
Yes.
And you're fighting that. Like, how in the world does how does someone come around about that? Like, and be successful at 30, like you are, and not like being like, excuse my language, but pissed off at the world.
Right.
How does a guy like yourself, every post that you post on Facebook is positive. You know what I mean? Like, so tell us about like that, and like your mindset of like with the cancer, and how did you overcome that? Like,
yeah. So when I came in US in 2011, I was like, okay, this is different. My English was not close to that at all, just so you know that. So I was really trying to find a job, and this is very important to see how it started. So I was trying to find a job, and then I went to a supermarket and say, hey, I'm from Middle East, and I'm looking. It was like a Middle Eastern supermarket, and they said, well, there is a gas station. Maybe you could work in gas station. And I said, great, let me go to this gas station. And I have no idea how to break down the dollar, the quarter, whatever. So I went to the gas station, and they hired me, I was happy. That was my first job. And they say, well, we're going to train you to be cashier. So I don't smoke cigarette at all. And then, when you're standing the cashier, behind you, there's 200 pack of cigarette.
yeah, absolutely.
And I'm terrible with remembering names. So I had to be in the gas station at 6 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And then, people, they need to go to work. They're very fast. Give me marble, give me whatever.
Yeah.
And very kindly respond. I say, I'm new here. Could you show me which one? So some people, they're kind, and some people, like, excuse me, they call me, you're stupid. Why they hire you here?
Yeah.
and then I made that joke when they said, "How did you start your career?" I say, "I start from stupid."
Yeah.
Because I was disappointing. This is not what I was expecting. I'm expecting this is like kind of like the Hollywood lifestyle in US. Now people abusing me with language every morning because I don't know cigarette names. So I couldn't continue with this job, and because it's become really aggravating for me. So I went to work like a security guard, and that was another story. You know what I mean? Like just being security guard. But I work with I have somebody reach out to me and say, "Hey, would you like to work in construction?" And I never thought about it, but it's in my DNA. I like construction because that's
Yeah.
well. So I remember they give me work, and I start as a carpenter. So I trimmed the whole house within, I believe, 2.5 days, and they was impressed. And I have no background. I have no background of carpentry at all. And then I built my way up, and until I become like a project manager with this company, all that. And my wife, she decided in that time to be a nurse. So she's like, I want to nursing, like nursing school.
Yeah.
And she already has a degree of Middle Eastern studies. So she's from US, but she has a degree of Middle Eastern studies, which is really cool. That's why we fell in love when we get married. So, but one day during what she was doing, she had assessment of her study, and she's like, I have a test tomorrow. I need to do test, examine your neck because I have a test tomorrow. And I was like, I don't have time for this. But anyway, short, long story, she did the test, and she found lumps in my neck right here that I'm not supposed to have.
Oh, wow.
And she's a student. Then she said, you're not supposed to have this. And I said, like, it doesn't hurt me. But then when we test it and it started to become really aggressive and huge, and we find out it's a cancer. So then I lost my job. And then remember, my wife, she's a student, so we have no income at all. So then I start to be going under the water gradually with a lot of debt. Like I would struggle to pay my bills for sure. Like I borrow $5-10 from my friends to pay my bills. Yeah. So that's another struggle. And new to the country, and now I'm diagnosed with cancer. And what terrifying me is my mom, she died when I was 10 years old with cancer. So I remember how she suffered.
Oh, wow.
So it's more like aggressive. And then I had my first daughter in that time. So I just become a father, and
Wow.
she's a student. My wife, she's a student. And then I'm out of work, and I don't know, like there's no encouragement at all because I'm fighting cancer right now. So
yeah.
So yeah,
it's very easy to give up at that time.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like I get to point, like I was like, I came from a war, you know what I mean? My family lost everything, and now I'm here trying to build something in my life. And now like I might die, you know what I mean? So that was a very, very hard moment for me to remember. Like I was like, okay, that's it, like my mom, basically, you know what I mean? So,
wow.
So but yeah, that's where the cancer started, you know what I mean? But
okay.
in the same time, that's what I start to find the purpose of my life more deeper than just like give up, you know what I mean? We always say like, what is our whys in our life? Why God being creating us? Why I'm here? Why my life end up here? Like, there's a reason for everything, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's where I get to point, like I need to give up for myself and for my family, for my daughters, for my wife, and make a difference, because that's what get me out of the hole. Just hope.
Yeah.
It's just a hope. It's not even like I have money in my pocket to do anything. It was just a hope I need to grab into.
That's absolutely amazing. So, but that, the good out of this, Ali, is that it allowed you to start up a company.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
And the company starts becoming pretty successful right here in Columbus, Ohio.
Yes.
So, tell us about like your company and how did you guys get started, with practically no money. You got a wife in school, you're fighting cancer. Like, how in the world does someone even start up a company?
Yeah, so we was having a gathering in my house in that time, and then everybody was talking about what is your high and what is your low, and I said I only have low, I don't have high. and I share all the struggle I have, and then number one is so good to surround yourself with people who love you and care about you, because you cannot fight this alone.
Yeah.
No matter what, not even cancer, any struggle we face, we need to have people around us that they believe in us, and then they love us. Like, they love us from deep down, not because your business, whatever.
Yeah.
So everybody left except Sam, he's now my business partner. And
Okay.
he said, hey, like, I know you love construction. How about if we start a company flipping houses? And I was like, no, look what happened to me. I work with this company. They let me go so badly, and I'm in debt right now. I don't want to do this. But he said, well, the difference is this is our company. So what do you think? So I told him, give me time. So I took 3 months, borrow money, driving in the neighborhood in my old Chevy, and trying to see why people flipping houses, why people remodeling. And that's where I end up working in Old Town East, Sterling Hospital area, King Lincoln area, because I drove a lot there 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
And like, you see them like not, there's not a lot of movement of real estate there, and I want to be that person started. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how it started. You know, it's we flipped. I remember I bought my first 2 properties in one lot, and I look at it, it was completely like disaster project. I literally sit down the corner outside where the fence is, and I look like this, and I was like, what I have done to myself, you know what I mean?
What I do to why am I doing this?
And I was like, I keep hearing this, like, I'm supposed to do this, but I just get into it. And I have not a lot of experience with the city of Columbus about code and everything. So what really make and build really good relationship with the city, it's basically, I told them, look, I want to learn the right way. I want to do all my project up to code. I want to have permitting for all my project.
Yep.
What to do. And they are very kind. They share, they explain, and everything's in 6 years. I mean, like, I've been recognizable. Like, this guy, he never failed his inspection. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Which, I mean, that's awesome. I flip houses, and I'll get contractors from time to time that, especially new ones, they're like, oh, we don't need a pool permit for that, you know? And I'm like, well, yeah, we really do. I mean, permit's not there to like save money or anything of that nature. It's for protection. They want to make sure that everything's done right, and it's actually saved me several projects because, like, there used to be asbestos or something in the house, or like knob and tube wiring, and so like here I've got permits, I've got that they passed inspection and so forth, and that's gotten me sales. So just because I've updated things, but yeah.
And then when you sell the property, you feel so comfortable. They are.
Yes.
They got a good product that they deserve. You know what I mean? Because you're the only one know what's behind the walls. They don't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That makes you sleep well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's good to have that mentality.
Yeah, we're going to maybe jump off topic just a little bit, but what's some advice for somebody starting out in the flipping business? I mean, HGTV has got everybody and anybody wanting to jump into the business, right?
Right.
So it's easy, but it's also very hard.
Yes.
So like, what's some advice? It's like some just nuggets that you starting out have had to have struggles, and how did you overcome those?
Yes. I mean, first, I always say, find your DNA. Like, do you really want to do this business or you don't?
Yeah.
A lot of time, like, we get like encouraged. I want to be like Ali, or I want to be like this person, or I want to do like what the TV shows do.
Yeah.
But inside you, that's not who you are. So number one, I always think, find your DNA, who you are and what you want to be. Number two, do your research, like study the market, simple study, like where is the best property being sold and all of that.
Yeah.
And surround yourself with a good team, because it doesn't matter if you have the money, but if you don't have the team, the money means nothing. You know what I mean? So I think that's the most important things. and have a good real estate agent work with you too. If you are not a real estate agent, have a good real estate agent that basically watch over you, make sure you're buying the right area, because
Mhm.
you're gonna sell the property for you. Because now you
Yeah.
finish it, you remodel it, looks beautiful, but you need somebody to sell it.
Exactly. And let the professionals do their job.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, very good. Now, moving forward a little bit, you jump into real estate and you start doing really well, and then like next thing you know, you're posting that you're opening offices in like Dubai and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
what's going on there? Like, how in the world does a guy from Iraq come to Columbus, Ohio, struggling with cancer and barely making ends meet, start making millions of dollars basically on real estate, managing and so forth, and then now you're opening offices in Dubai. Like, how does that happen?
So one of the most important things in real estate is networking. You know what I mean? Like, much people, like if you want to be very successful, and that will be really also good advice, network with other people, the right people. Again,
Yeah.
the right people. And what happened is I've been approached many times from people overseas, like from Saudi Arabia, from Iraq, and then a lot of people from Dubai.
Okay.
And first, I'm originally from Middle East. I speak the language, and I have the passion and desire for that. So a lot of people approaching is like, look, how about we build that bridge between two countries? Now it's become more like the peace man, bring two countries in business together.
Yeah.
And then I like this rules because I always again focus on communities and do this like a bridge between two areas that a lot of people from here, they don't understand how to look like to be investors there, and then a lot of people from there, they don't have the opportunity how they could be investor in US.
Mm-hmm.
So 180 International, it will be based in Dubai, and we basically have a high level of networking with high level people there, entrepreneurs that they develop billions of dollars there. And I'm next month I'm going there for finishing all the paperwork and open the office, which is I'm very excited.
Awesome.
Yeah. So what happened is people, they just need the spark. You know what I mean? So let's say like you and self, like you say, I have been always fascinated by all the high riser building there and everything. How could they afford it? How could they build it? Do they have
Yeah.
taxes there? Do they don't have taxes there? And I could tell you the reason this country is thriving because there is no property tax. There is no property gain tax, especially investors. So if you want to go invest there and you make $1 million, you don't pay taxes for the $1 million.
Yeah.
But it urge you to invest it again and again and again. And you can see this country is thriving very, very quickly.
Yeah.
So that's kind of one of the key things that a lot of people. So my partner there, he said, like, we have a lot of people from Hollywood, the basketball players. We see them all the time. They just purchasing properties through our brokerage or even through other brokerage companies because they just want to have vacation homes. And what happened when they didn't use it, they rent it for like 20, 30,000 a week. You know what I mean? And they don't pay taxes for that either.
Yeah. Nice perk.
Exactly. So what the vision is basically start this first and see how it gonna works, build that bridge back and forth between two countries, and then make this opportunities like for people to invest from there to here and from here to there. And then that's the whole goal basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. It's amazing.
That's awesome. So, I mean, you're making it happen, man. I mean, you really are. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
I mean, you're moving. You're a mover and a shaker for sure. So now you're a very positive man. So like,
Right.
we've had a lot of great conversation off camera. Like before the show and stuff. And some of the things you're like, I want to stress like the why and like why somebody's why and so forth. Tell me why that's so important to you and what's important about like the why for somebody.
Right. So we all get in the point like we need to have a reason in our lives. You know what I mean? Like, okay, like example, like if I go to university and study to like a doctor degree, my why is I want to be a doctor, right?
Yeah.
So people, they find their whys as they go to college, right? But a lot of people, if they finish college and they never have what they want, we need the why in our life. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I get my why during me fighting cancer, during me struggle with more than $30,000 in debt. You know what I mean? And I was like, well, I need to change my life, and that was my why. But it was very difficult. Twice then somebody just right now graduate or didn't be able to finish a school, and they could find their whys before the difficulties come. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Be easier than somebody struggling. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, and I always use this example. Think about it: a little seed, and like if it's like going to be like an apple tree, whatever that is, when the farmer put that seed in the ground, his why is that it's going to be fruitful one day and then basically make money from it. But
Yep.
that's going to be 4 season going through, hot season, cold season, snow and everything. But it's still, the vision is get a fruit from that seed, right?
Yep.
In our life, it's the same things. Like we just need to educate ourselves on the topic, which is our why, what I want to be, and then keep focusing on that. Even if there's difficulties, keep pushing it through, and then you're gonna see fruit eventually. Like you're gonna see the fruit of your hard works.
Yep.
So it's very important that people not give up. You know what I mean? It's very important they know what is their DNA, what they want to be. You know what I mean? Because if they
Mhm.
cannot get those 2 points, like two subject, it's difficult because you need to know where you belong.
Yeah. Now, how did you? You mentioned like your why came from when you were fighting like the kind of like the cancer and so forth.
Yeah.
Would you be willing to share like your why and what that was like? A little
Right.
bit to us.
Yeah. So I was sitting in the room. I was doing a chemotherapy, so I can't really play with my daughter in that time. And I'm just looking for four walls. That's the only things. I really
Yeah.
remember I was sitting in my bed, and I was like, well, I have nothing for my family if I die. Nothing. Like there's nothing I can support them with. Nothing.
Yeah.
There's debt, right? That's where I feel like if God give me the opportunity to continue living and a healthy person, I will do whatever it takes to build future for my family and myself, whatever it takes, like the right way. You know what I mean? That like
Mhm.
we start the right way, the right steps. And then when later when Sam it bring me these opportunities that to do real estate, that's where the spark, like this is my opportunity and I need to pursue it and take it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the why is it happen is not based on the opportunity. The why happen mostly is before the opportunity come to you,
Mhm.
because if you don't have the why, you cannot recognize the opportunities because you're so distracted. But when
Yeah.
you have a reason and purpose, and you start to see the opportunity pass through, because now you're focusing on changing your life.
Yep.
you know so the first like a ticket went up in front of me, and I was like, this is it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
faithful, I remember the first time when we started the company, and I cannot forget that we didn't have an LLC yet, and Sam, he was working his full-time job in other company. He's a designer, and then he took his checkbook and he write me $100,000, and he said, here's the check. Put in your personal bank account, go find the properties, and then we will talk about it later.
Yeah.
There was a trust and belief in you from the beginning.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that's how we start, and then the 100 become 200, 300 become 400, and million, and it's continued because there's a trust, there is a faith,
Yep.
there's belief. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's really how it start, and that's
How
my
that's your why,
yeah.
and that's a pretty powerful why. I mean, because you do want to leave stuff for your family. You want to make sure, especially like your children, you want to make sure that they are, if something did happen to you, that they are taken care of, provided for, and so forth. And you want them to get a good education, whatever it is. So I applaud you, sir, for stepping up and realizing that and taking care of that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I've seen a lot of people just give up. So and then education wise, where like you mentioned, like mentors and stuff like that. Tell us about your mentor and why you chose him. I know he chose you in a sense, but
yeah. So when I start here, I don't know people. I don't know a lot of people working in the same field. So I believe that the person I learn from the most, and he's always supporting me no matter what, is my dad.
Yep.
So I mean, he has a doctorate degree in civil engineering, and he has so much experience. I mean, if you manage 5,000 people, it's easy to manage me.
Yeah.
He say sometimes I'm having a hard time to managing you, and I encourage you because you're like more than 5,000. But
yeah.
but I always go back to him, and I was like, Dad, like this is what I'm facing. What do you think? What you're advising me? And he always like give me the opportunity to say, what do you feel about it? What is your feelings about it? And then when I share my feelings, and he said, well, this is how I look at it from this angle. You know what I mean? And because he's full of knowledge with real estate, with buildings, with development and stuff like that. So so he is my mentor. Yeah, I mean, I'm very, very happy and fortunate, like to live and see my dad. He's very proud because he made that joke one time when he came from England. He had two big, huge boxes, like a shipping boxes, full of books when he came from England. And he said, if anything happened to me, this is yours. Like, this is yours.
Yeah.
And I was young, and I was like, I don't need books. What are you doing? Give me a car, give me something,
Yeah.
But I never get a chance to read those books because it's all like engineering, right? But I did the shortcut, and he always say like, you don't need the books. You're very smart. So
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he's my mentor.
Awesome. That's awesome. And a lot of people can't say that about like their own family. So you're very fortunate. What's that?
That's the culture, by the way. It's a different culture.
Yeah. Well, and that does bring a good point. And so, but you have a great mentor in your own father. And I mean, he's been there and done it for the most part, right? So somebody that maybe doesn't have the connections that you have, right? With, father and so forth, but you didn't necessarily have that right away neither, though, when you first started in this business.
Right.
Here in the States, I mean, yeah, he may be in a phone call away, but he wasn't like here holding your hand, right? So you had to go out and do it yourself.
Yes.
You had to get up, wake up, and go out and have that drive to do that.
Right.
What can you tell those individuals that maybe can't afford a mentor? Maybe they don't have anybody in their family that, how do I say this, I guess, politically correct? Like, not everybody has a knowledgeable family. Some families will tear you down if you're trying to be better than, I know families that as soon as you get a nice vehicle, they're like, oh, you're showing your money or something. And it's just, a nice looking vehicle, right?
Right.
What do you tell those individuals that are trying to break the mold per se of living day to day and getting out and doing something?
Right. So first, when we start, we feel we're alone. We're alone in this game.
Yeah.
That's a lie. We're not alone in this game. And there's a lot of people they would love to help. A lot of people. Real estate is not a competition. It's a community. That's what I believe in. I never feel I'm competing with anybody else. I always feel like we are a community. And then it's always, I said, if you don't ask, the answer always is no.
Yeah.
Find out, like if you don't pick up the phone and say, hey, I heard about you. There's any way we could get a cup of coffee. And again, I met with very, very successful people in Ohio and other areas by really just sit in a cup of coffee and just talk to each other. And I leave that meeting and I really feel like this worth more than $10,000 of a mastermind class.
Yeah.
Because you just get the whole things, the whole ideas, how they start, what they like. And then, like you could ask like, well, what is your advice? I just start. And then you just get so much like good materials. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So always ask for meeting people. Don't be shy. And it's okay. Nobody starts with having a lot of money. You know what I mean? I started with having a 30,000 debt and 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 a collections, a lot of collections. You know what I mean? So that's kind of, just ask, really. Ask, hey, like, I want to start my real estate. Like my job right now, I have been doing a lot of Arabic speaking, and I have been approaching a lot of the Middle Eastern people in US and internationally of how could you start your own business and how could you be a real estate investor.
Yeah.
The feedback and everything I have been getting, it's amazing because they need that. They need somebody to guide them through, at least just show them the way, because everybody's smart. We have a very genius mind, but we just need to make it work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, if you don't have a mentors, that's not the end of the world, because you could do it without a mentors. Mentors will save you money because they spend the money of going through mistakes that you don't have to go through it. Now, if you don't want to do that, then I use that example. Everybody learn from his bucket. So if you don't pay to mentor, you're going to pay it in one mistake.
Yeah, you will. You'll pay it one way or the other.
Exactly. So if you don't have it up front, you're going to pay it later.
Yeah.
But it's a cool process. If you love what you do, you will enjoy it.
Yep. So, well, again, you're a very inspirational man. There was a comment here. I'm going to actually try to see if I can show this. So can you see this? Wally, that's again and again. It's an inspirational story, brother Ali. So thanks for sharing the comments. Thank you for being on the show, Ali. You are an inspiration to others. I admire the work that you're doing. And I just admire, you're necessarily getting out and getting up and moving forward every day, regardless of what was going on in your life, whether it was a war, fighting cancer. I know too many people that just sit around and, oh, pity me for, stubbing a toe, type of scenario. And they don't want to do anything. Right. So you are a true inspiration to others. And I hope you keep speaking your word, man. I really do.
Thank you.
When's your book coming out?
No, a lot of people asking me, like, could you please put a time, like a mastermind class or something, just so we could just gain this stuff from you. And I was like, well, I will think about it.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I think you'd be good at that. And you got a great business mind, and so you've seen stuff that others will hopefully never have to see, type of scenario. And so I appreciate you being on the show and sharing your story. And for all you guys listening out there, Ali is a perfect example of just never giving up, never, and never. And so, again, Ali, thanks for being on the show. Thank you guys for tuning in. And we'll see you guys next week, next Monday. So thanks again. Thanks, Ali, for being on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.